Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that's been on my mind ever since the release of the last manga chapter, which is this notion that people have begun to start dragging Konohamaru for arresting Boruto. With a bunch of people dragging his character and being blunt, I think it's the wrong decision to make when it comes to pointing blame at his character, which, God forgive me, I'm actually going to defend Konohamaru in this video, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, it is going to be my hope that if you're someone who is participating in that holy ritual of that Konohamaru slander, something that I have been guilty of in the past, it is my hope that this video, at the very least, makes you change your mind in how you're approaching his character. So the discourse surrounding Konohamaru at the end of the last chapter was that there was all this outrage that Konohamaru arrested Boruto and he placed the handcuffs on him after he was being held down. No Tyreek Hill. I'll admit, when I first read it, my knee-jerk reaction was to go, man, what in the world is Konohamaru doing right now? And not because I'm getting prototypes made for Boruto Lives Matter merchandise to meme the whole situation like I did Make Konoha Great Again merch and the We Were Singon We Win merchandise because I'm an equal opportunity troll. But I think right now, based on where Konohamaru is, his decision to arrest Boruto, it doesn't reflect badly on him, so much as it makes him look like another victim of the circumstances and a poster child for why the community of Boruto fans really needs to stop downplaying the effects of omnipotence. If that does not apply to you, don't take offense to it. While it is growing in terms of the number of people who recognize how overpowered omnipotence is, to the point it is stupidly overpowered, there's still a large number of fans who downplay the strength of this power itself. Going into the chapter, I did believe that we were going to see Konohamaru sit there and put all the pieces together just because of how all the events transpired leading up to the plot twist in this chapter. With omnipotence, it uses chakra to alter the memories of everyone who has been affected by it. In this case, everyone who had memories of Boruto and Kawaki, their memories, they were swapped. They believed that Kawaki was the firstborn son of Naruto and Hinata. They believed that Kawaki was the kid who many people in Konoha, they had all these high hopes for, would be the second coming of the fourth Hokage. Boruto was supposed to be their beacon of hope for a brighter future, even though he ultimately wanted to walk the path of Sasuke and he had zero aspirations to be Hokage. There were as many people who accepted that position of his as there were people who looked at him and said, yeah, I still expect him to one day change his mind and become Hokage. He'd be Hokage just off of his lineage and his accomplishments. There would be no debate at all. He was the grandson of the fourth Hokage, who was taught by the legendary Sannin Jiraiya, who was taught by the third Hokage, who was taught by the first and the second Hokage. He was the son of the heiress of the Hyuga clan, one of the four noble clans of Konoha, basically royalty in the village. He was the son of Naruto Uzumaki, the seventh Hokage and war hero of the fourth Ninja War, and the man who saved the world multiple times before he became Hokage. Naruto was trained by Kakashi, the sixth Hokage, and Kakashi was trained by Minato, whose sensei tree runs all the way back to the first Hokage. Kakashi was the son of the White Fang, a famed shinobi who was said to be stronger than the collective trio of the legendary Sannin as late as the events of the third Ninja War. So that would be the Sannin when they were in their early 40s, because in Naruto Part 1, they were in their 50s. So he didn't just have a silver platter on the plate if he wanted to be Hokage. Just off the bloodline, he had what he wanted, but he also was someone who had his own merits and accomplishments. He took down the criminal group of the Mujina Bandits. He saved the feudal lord's son. He helped stop Momoshiki. He helped stop Ishiki. To the people of Konoha, Kawaki was now that boy who had every requirement needed to be a future Hokage. Boruto, on the other hand, due to omnipotence, he was now the one who everyone believed was the outsider who Naruto brought into his home, adopted like a second child. Then after Naruto showered him with love and protected him from multiple enemies who came after him, Boruto in their eyes killed Naruto and Hinata, betraying their trust, and tried to kill Kawaki, the person they believed was their beacon of hope for the future of the village. It didn't matter that they looked and their eyes told them, hey, all this makes no sense. It didn't matter that Kawaki no longer possessed Momoshiki's chakra, which Naruto's son should have. It didn't matter that Kawaki was a cyborg, a human enhanced with mechanical enhancements via a model's ninja tech, something that Naruto's son wasn't because he was never experimented on. It didn't matter that he had Ishiki's dojutsu and powers. It didn't matter that the academy records and mission logs all said Boruto Uzumaki and not Kawaki Uzumaki. It didn't matter that you literally have Sarada confirmed to be passing around photos of Naruto holding baby Boruto, who had whiskers on his face and those big blue eyes that are bluer than Naruto's and a head full of blonde hair. Omnipotence made all those people say, you know what, Sarada? That does look weird, but you can't fool me. Kawaki is Naruto's son. You would have a easier time trying to convince me as a Giants fan that Daniel Jones is not a steaming hot pile of dinosaur poop on a hot summer day with a 150-degree heat index. However, I thought, and so many of you thought, maybe, just maybe, Boruto had done enough to break through to Konohamaru. Boruto was coming back to the village for a second time, and he was saving it from a threat. Sure, Konohamaru snapped at Boruto and said, what makes you think that anything's changed, that you can just come on in here and fight alongside us like you aren't a traitor? And for a moment, it looked like, damn, man, Konohamaru was still affected. But then we start seeing these small signs there. Konohamaru's face when Boruto's protective of Himawari, Konohamaru's face when Sarada said that Boruto's their ally, Konohamaru's face when Boruto was using the Rasengan. Hell, he didn't just use the Rasengan once or twice, he used it a few times in front of Konohamaru. He was even using Minato's signature jutsu, the Flying Raijin, and he was using battle techniques and tactics that you would expect from Naruto's son. The way Boruto's teamwork was so seamless with Sarada, the trust they put in with each other, it felt like, okay, this is gonna be it. This is the moment that Konohamaru woke up, because there was no sign that Naruto had ever taught Kawaki the Rasengan. While Naruto taught him stuff including fire release, change in chakra nature, and shadow clones, the Rasengan is something that is dummy hard to learn, and someone like Kawaki, you never expect him to be able to bust out Rasengan. It seemed like a sure bet that this would be something that does it. After all, we saw it with Sasuke, where Sasuke was looking at Boruto and he saw the scar on his eye. He saw the headband he was in possession of that Sasuke gave to his student. Sasuke saw that and he began to start asking questions, but this is where it is different, and this is where it's not fair to compare Konohamaru. Sasuke did all that stuff off the strength of his daughter's plea, because she awakened the Mangekyo, and he was able to poke holes in what his lying eyes were showing him, because omnipotence was still fresh. That is a key component to keep in mind. Omnipotence was still fresh. As Sasuke said, and is often forgotten by a lot of fans, the longer the time period that passes from when omnipotence was first used, the harder it is for you to come to the conclusion that your memory was altered. The harder it becomes for you to start questioning what you're seeing. It's why Ada tells Sarada to just give up on trying to change people's minds. Sasuke literally tells Boruto he feels an invisible force weighing down on him to make him look past what problems he was seeing. And even on the night that he was defeated, a year later, a whole year later, he was still saying things like, it doesn't matter who you are. He was still struggling with his memory being altered, but he was choosing to trust in his daughter. Even Shikamaru, 3 years later, Boruto was still telling him it is pointless for you to try to understand omnipotence. Your memory, it will always stay altered unless we find a way to reverse this. You just need to trust that everything I'm telling you right now is the truth, because omnipotence, it is just that cracked. Yet Konohamaru couldn't look at the Rasengan and go, wait a second, how does he know this jutsu? And it's part of the problem. Konohamaru is in a super emotional state right now. He didn't hesitate to snap at Boruto when he saw that they were alone and Hidari was not on the battlefield. He saw red in that very moment. His heart was doing all the thinking for him, and as is the case, as it is with a lot of things with the heart where logic is used, logic does not apply when the heart is the thing overriding all your ability to reason. It's like if you walk in and you see your spouse or your girlfriend cheating on you, or your husband, since 13% of you guys are women on the channel, or your husband is cheating on you, you're not gonna sit there and say, I wonder what made him or her decide to go hook up with this other person. Was it random? Was there signs that I was missing? No, you're gonna be emotional and you're gonna do whatever it is that you're doing. Boruto being there in that moment, he represented a thief in the mind of Konohamaru. He was someone who stole Konohamaru's best friend. his teacher, his rival, the man who he got to promise him way back in Naruto chapter 2 that they will one day fight for the title Hokage. In Konohamaru's mind, Boruto stole that very thing from him. It was never going to happen because he believes that Naruto is dead. That's not something that you can ever forgive. That's not something you can ever forget. That's a huge driving factor in him being so blinded by what he was seeing when he looked at Boruto. A very important characterization to keep in mind. The other thing is that due to omnipotence clouding his judgment, he views Boruto as being a dangerous threat. In fact, he has seen it with his own eyes that Boruto is a threat. Now, we as the audience know, hey, Boruto's the good guy here, Konohamaru doesn't. It's one thing to hear that Boruto has become so strong, he takes out a chunk of Code's forces with no issues, just a sword, and then he takes down Code like it's no problem. It's one thing to hear that, but it is another thing to see that level of power firsthand for yourself, and to know, okay, I stand no chance against this guy. Konohamaru was able to block Hidari's full frontal Chidori at point blank range with his Rasen Barrier Jutsu, which uses wind release and change in chakra shape to block the attack and exploit the elemental advantages that wind release has over lightning release and the extra amp that comes from the change in chakra shape, which the Rasen Barrier uses. However, at the same time, it blew Konohamaru backwards, and even when Hidari was using a partial Chidori, partial in the sense that the guy was not using the moving thrust of the Chidori, but instead he was trying to sneak attack by having it come out the claw marks, Konohamaru barely was able to block that and stay upright. Yet Boruto was shown with a brand new Rasengan that had so much power to it that it didn't just destroy Hidari, it blew his entire body apart minus the head and a small part of his shoulder. And to make it worse, Konohamaru was there when he heard Boruto say this jutsu wasn't even at full power. That is nightmarish strength. Think about it if you're Konohamaru. Not only is this kid stronger than you, but he's even better at the Rasengan than you. That's 2 extra layers of insult to add to injury. For Konohamaru, the moment Boruto was shot and barely staying conscious, it was the only logical thing to do to slap on those handcuffs on Boruto and to restrain him, because in his mind, he still views him as being a threat. Those handcuffs prevent Boruto from using chakra. No chakra means being unable to use superhuman strength to break out of those cuffs. Even with shinjutsu, you still need chakra to perform shinjutsu. He can't use ninjutsu by extension, which means he can't teleport away either. The intention was to interrogate him so they can do so now safely. If Konohamaru has questions about the Rasengan, let's say Konohamaru did notice all that stuff, it is now safe for him to ask those questions because there's no threat left for Boruto. You have eliminated the threat. I get it. So many of us wanted Konohamaru to go, aha, Kawaki, you are a liar. You are a fraud. Boruto is Naruto's son. Get this fraud out of here. But it was never going to be that easy. It was always going to be a slow burner towards getting Boruto to reclaim his birthright, and that's fine. It's for a better payoff. You don't rush something like that, even if it feels like this is good for right now, because it would be what I like to call sugar rush type of writing, which by that, what I mean is that just how you eat a big bag of candy and you get all jittery and then suddenly you crash out. The same if you drink an energy drink and you crash later. Another reason that I do love G Fuel, because again, there's no crash. But here's the other thing to keep in mind. You do that in this very moment instead of putting the handcuffs on them. You run the risk of reverting back to that, it being a sugar crash. And I don't think that you do that in that very moment when Boruto's on the ground fading into unconsciousness, where you heal him, then you start asking questions. No, you put the handcuffs on him first and you drag it out a little longer. Maybe once things calm down a bit, you can move to that point. But Boruto, being a wanted man and hated, it wouldn't feel right if Konohamaru didn't take the time to process what his eyes were seeing and then jump to the conclusion that he's wrong about Boruto. It has to be a process. It's not going to happen as fast as you clicking on this anime explain video on the left or the Naruto explain video on the right, or me saying those oh so magical words, send you DNA is love, send you DNA is life.